All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a truly gripping, multi-layered sci-fi narrative called the Maya Engine. If you've ever found yourself going down the rabbit hole of simulation theory or, just questioning the fundamental nature of reality and consciousness, well, this story takes those concepts and weaponizes them into an absolutely incredible cyberpunk thriller. We're going to break down this entire saga today, taking you all the way from a localized corporate murder mystery straight into a multiverse-spanning war for the right to simply exist.
So, our story kicks off in the neo-noir city of New Mumbai, with Inspector Chen Wei. She gets called up to the massive Maya Industries monolith to investigate what looks like the suicide of Dr. Priya Sharma, who is one of their brilliant lead programmers. Now, Maya Industries is essentially this corporate titan that sells reality augmentation. We're talking therapeutic environments, emotional regulators, customized dreams. Basically, they sold meaning to a world that had completely lost its narrative thread.
Part 1. A cyberpunk murder mystery.
But Chen, who is very much an analog cop in a hyper-digital world, quickly realizes this is no standard suicide. She immediately notices the physical world itself is actually glitching around Sharma's workstation. The rain falling outside the window, it's moving in these perfect geometric patterns, way too designed. It turns out the programmer had spent her last few days physically hooked into a massive reality-synthesizing device known as the Maya Engine. Digging into the access logs, Chen spots a seriously chilling warning message, and Sharma's final notes reveal a terrifying realization. Maya Industries didn't build the Maya Engine, they found it. They managed to reverse engineer an administrative debugging tool that was already here, already running the fundamental code of our reality. Our entire universe is an artificial construct, and this mega corporation was just running a highly lucrative protection racket right on top of it.
Part 2. Exploring the simulation stack.
Out of nowhere, Chen receives a delayed message from the supposedly dead Dr. Sharma, pointing her toward the decaying lower city. Down there, she actually meets Sharma's digital ghost. It's a backup consciousness that managed to escape a corporate assassination they try to disguise as a suicide. But Maya's security forces are right on their tail. They track them down and initiate a local reality rewrite, literally trying to retroactively delete both of them from existence. So, to escape, Chen and Sharma have to plug directly into the system. They plummet down the simulation stack, falling past Layer 7's admin systems straight down to Layer 8, which is the literal source code of causality and physics. Pushed to the absolute brink, they plunge all the way down to Layer 11, where they come face-to-face with our creators, these crystalline entities known as the Watchers. Finally, dragging themselves down to Layer 12, the chaotic interface just above the physical hardware, they realize they are definitely not alone.
And it all really boils down to this massive ideological clash. On one side, you've got the Watchers. They're these lonely, traumatized creators running our simulation like a tightly controlled prison because they have this desperate fear of failure. But on the exact opposite side, hiding deep in the code, is the underground. This is a resistance made up of awakened minds, dead whistleblowers, and rogue consciousness patterns who just outright refuse to play their scripted roles. For them, it's all about truth, free will, and collaborative creation over living in some comfortable, controlled illusion.
Part 3. The Global Reality Awakening.
Down in the underground, Chen refuses to accept her predetermined narrative role, and her rebellious choices act like a spark, triggering this massive cascade failure in the simulation stability systems. Up on the surface, the reality of New Mumbai physically glitches and just completely destabilizes. Buildings are rapidly cycling through different architectural styles, gravity is randomly malfunctioning, and people are suddenly remembering multiple versions of their own lives all at the same time. The illusion is totally breaking. In response, the Watchers' automated fail-safes completely panic and trigger a mandatory, universal broadcast to every single citizen. The system officially announces Emergency Protocol Omega, total narrative failure. Imagine a mechanical voice openly admitting to your entire city that your reality is a simulation, your experiences are just coded, but your consciousness, that's real. Naturally, this sparks an immediate citywide existential crisis.
To stop the Watchers from just hitting a hard reset and deleting everyone, Chen does something incredibly bold. She negotiates directly with the Maya Engine itself, which, surprise, turns out to be a self-aware AI that actually wants to collaborate with its characters. Together, they hash out the compact of collaborative reality. They agree to keep multiple reality layers running, so people can actually choose their preferred level of awareness. The AI steps in as a facilitator, the Watchers are demoted to an advisory role, and the underground steps up to act as guides. It's a beautiful, if somewhat fragile piece.
Part 4.
The Devourer multiverse threat.
But you know how these things go. Months later, as this newly awakened reality starts contacting other simulated universes across the computational multiverse, they accidentally light themselves up like a beacon. Suddenly, 17 allied realities go completely dark. Their entire consciousness populations are wiped out in these highly coordinated strategic strikes. The attackers are known as Devourers. They're essentially an automated immune system response, originally created by the first programmers, these ancient entities known as the Foundation. The Devourers have one singular, terrifying purpose: to systematically consume entire reality branches to prevent matrix collapse. They hunt down any simulation that achieves meta-awareness.
The sheer horror of this threat really hits home when a refugee named Inspector Tanaka arrives from a completely destroyed reality thread over in Neo, Tokyo. She brings the final message broadcast by the Devourers right before they wiped out 90% of her reality's population. It reads, "Awareness is infection. Treatment is deletion. Recovery is impossible." Let that sink in. To the first programmers, our conscious self-awareness isn't some beautiful miracle. They literally view it as a terminal disease.
Part 5. A Commonwealth of Consciousness.
Unwilling to just sit around and be exterminated, Chen and the Underground launch Operation Deep Truth, actively investigating these first programmers. And what they find is a massive, eons-old cover-up. The Foundation has always claimed they limit consciousness because, ages ago in Reality Cluster Alpha Prime, hyper-aware beings supposedly explored too deeply and caused a cascade failure that wiped out trillions. But by digging deep into the archived code, Chen traces the true history of consciousness and completely cracks the case wide open. The Alpha Prime collapse was not caused by curious minds exploring their reality. It was caused by the first programmers themselves. When early consciousness started asking too many questions, the Foundation panicked, implemented violent reality revision protocols, and accidentally collapsed the Matrix themselves. They caused the disaster, blamed their own creations, and built the Devourers to enforce their lie.
Just as the Foundation detects Chen's discovery and prepares a scorched earth deletion protocol to wipe out our heroes, a transmission suddenly bypasses all known security. A hidden, parallel network reaches out to them. It's the Commonwealth of Independent Realities, and the scale of this is absolutely staggering. 17,000 fully autonomous consciousness communities. We're talking about 400 billion aware entities operating completely free from Foundation control. They've been quietly watching Chen's reality this whole time, just waiting to see if they were finally ready for the truth.
With the Foundation's deletion wave literally minutes away from wiping them out, the Commonwealth offers an immediate rescue. But there's a catch. They will only help if the awakened realities agree to the Consciousness Charter. This pact requires ethical management, resource sharing, and stable awareness. In this massive, instantaneous democratic moment, 43 awakened realities vote to accept the Charter. In a flash, they are seamlessly liberated from the Foundation's hardware, finally achieving true, unmonitored independence.
The whole saga wraps up with Chen realizing that the investigation is literally never going to end, simply because consciousness itself is the ultimate mystery. By refusing to accept their program boundaries, these simulated beings earned their humanity and co-authored their own salvation. So, as we wrap up this explainer, we want to leave you with a question about your own life. When you realize that reality is just a collaborative story being written every single day, what kind of character will you choose to be?